The Local Show, sponsored by Victory in Motion, home of knee repair, not knee replacement, on News Radio 570 WSYR, on 106.9 FM, and live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Local Show features in-depth conversation with business owners, employees, and influential business leaders throughout Central New York, exploring their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in our growing community. The Local Show is produced locally by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Back into it and back at it. You found The Local Show with Tom and Steve. Mostly Steve, but, he lets me talk.
Well, I tell you, last week you had George Powers accounting guy in here, and the reviews are in, and they like him better. So I'd like to make an announcement here that Tom and George are going to do the show forever.
And I'll absorb your half of the salary.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I don't get paid? Okay, I'll be here.
At that point, I should press the button that said, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Right? There you go. Well, look, we got a returning guest to the show, and I'm very excited to speak with her again. It's Lisa Romano Moore. She's the executive director of the Onondaga Historical Association. How are you there, Lisa?
I'm great. It's good to be back on.
Well,
it's
good to have you. And you look very summery. Those of you who are YouTubers see the YouTube. We have all sorts of cameras.
Yeah.
And all that. So, Lisa, I know you've been there for a while now, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's
5 years.
You weren't always executive director. You were something else, and then you turned into executive. But now you've been executive director for a while.
She used to just dust the books
I'm
originally.
approaching my third year.
Third year of that. That's good.
Yeah.
I don't know that people really understand what a resource the Historical Association is,
yes.
how big it is, and the areas that you encompass.
Yes.
So I'm going to let you talk and go ahead and tell everybody.
Sure, yeah. So we're the historian for the county and the city of Syracuse. We have been since 1863, so we have some stuff. And people keep giving us stuff.
1863.
So the Civil War hadn't ended yet, and you stepped into that. Your company,
we were there. You know, they felt that there should be somebody or some organization to capture the history of the community.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. So we have the history of industry, and we have artwork of artists in the community, and clothing, military uniforms and gowns from the James Street Mansion ladies.
Yeah.
We have Syracuse china, a lot of it, and their history. So we have business histories as well as the things that were manufactured here. And we're actually about to renovate our downtown Comprehensive History Museum and Research Center. So if people have been on Montgomery Street, you know where we are.
And that's the largest facility, right?
That's the largest facility.
How do you got to renovate? You have to kind of move things first. So okay.
Yes.
Because there's so much there, that's got to be part of the challenge, right?
It's sort of like Jenga meets Tetris, a little bit of Operation. Remember the game where I don't buzz?
Yes, right.
So we're renovating our storage floors where our collections are stored, but we're also going to expand our research centers so we can fit more people. And we'll be adding a kitchen and bathrooms on our second floor so that we can do more public programming. We have a lot of folks who reach out to us and say, can we host something there? And we might have room, but we don't really have good kitchen facilities, so if you wanted to bring catering in or something like that.
Right.
So we're hoping that when this is done, sometime in early 2026, we will be able to do more activities in-house.
Where do you get your funding from?
So we are contracted with the county as well as the city as their archivists and historians.
So they put something in the budget each year for the Historical Association?
Yes, as part of our agreement.
Yeah, because if not, they would have to do it. And how are they going to do it?
Yeah.
It needs to be done.
Yes, it does
and you need
need
professionals.
To be done.
You need professional archivists.
Right. So we have a professional staff of curators and archivists and educators and historians. We aren't just in our building. We're out in the community. We have exhibitions up at Heritage Hill with our brewing history. We have the Scano Great Law of Peace Center in Liverpool about our Haudenosaunee history and culture. We have an airport museum up at Hancock.
My favorite.
Yeah.
I love.
Is it all about aviation?
Where your mom plays piano.
So mom's playing the piano and the organ right there in front of it. So right behind where you go up for TSA. You think, okay, I'm here to get a plane. I got to get going.
Yeah.
Give it a few extra minutes because it is amazing. And even the back of that, you walk in there, you can see the planes take off. It's just the visibility. It's just lovely.
Yeah, and it tells interesting things. There's the airplanes and the uniforms, but there are also things like we have a Franklin automobile.
I was just thinking about that.
Right,
Yeah.
which was promoted by Amelia Earhart.
Wow.
It had an airplane engine. That's how the engine was cooled, very much like
kidding.
airplanes. So Amelia Earhart was one of the people who helped market it.
Was that a Rolls-Royce engine? Do you know? Back in the day, a lot of the World War II planes, those were Rolls-Royce engines.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that. I don't think it was Rolls. I mean, the Franklin engine was developed here.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Probably okay.
Yeah, but it had that same technology. I guess is what we would say.
Sure.
The history of Jimmy Van Heusen,
Oh,
who "Come Fly with Me," is
Sure.
a Sinatra song, but Jimmy Van Heusen grew up here in Syracuse,
He did.
and so he's featured in the musume, of course, because who doesn't know that lyric?
Yeah,
if you're over
absolutely.
a certain age, if you're
Right.
you're under, it's not maybe as well. And actually, we're talking to a gentleman who's doing a film about Jimmy Van Heusen, so he's reached out to us and talking a little bit about that history.
What do you call the people who give you the tours? Are they the docents or the docents?
Our
I don't know.
educators,
or
and our historians. So we have Wednesday walking tours that have started up.
Okay.
Check our website for weather forecasts because we might not be able to do it if it's lightning out.
Right.
Bob Searing, ever popular historian, everywhere in the city.
Yeah.
And it launches at noon on Wednesdays.
And they'll
from our
take you
museum.
around and explain
He'll take you around,
everything.
show you historical sites and what they mean. And
Do you want
probably,
volunteers?
we can use volunteers. Absolutely.
I hear you
Yes.
moving. We got to renovate. We got to move the stuff.
Yeah.
It sounds like maybe people could help.
Well, we need some strong backs if people are willing to help us move materials around. Some of the things we have are more delicate. We have thousands of bound booklets of newspapers going back to before the Civil War, and that is where a lot of our documentation and that sort of primary information comes from.
So those are original papers.
They're original
are they put on
newspapers.
microfiche, or I don't know what we do? No, I don't know if that's.
Some are digitized after a certain year, after the mid 50s, late 60s. A lot more of those are digitally available. But we're slowly but surely digitizing, the ones that are, 1850.
Can they preserve those papers though for a long time? Can
They're delicate, right? They're
Right.
They're subject to temperature changes. Light can affect them. So that's one of the reasons we're doing this renovation is to add more environmental control in the building, which is why they need to be moved.
Yeah.
So so we're shifting things around and improving the conditions for our people and our staff.
And way back when this organization started,
Yes.
Who was in charge of it then?
It was community members. You might know the name Whiting. Whiting Opera House was at Clinton Square way back in the 1800s. He was a principal of the organization. Probably one of the most influential people was William Kirkpatrick, who was the descendant of a salt baron, who left us his estate. He and his brother never married, and they left us a substantial estates to allow us to have a building. And that's how we ended up purchasing. We were first in 311, which was the original home of the Bell Telephone and Telegraph, or New York Telephone.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay, I know.
and then we were in 311 and 321, and then we consolidated into 321 in 2005. And both buildings were Bell Telephone.
What a gem in the community. And when you talk about it, it makes me want to go back down there.
Right.
I've been in the museum, the one downtown.
Yes.
And there's just so much to see. And I'm
Yes.
a fan of history. CNYhistory.org, lots of information there, right? That's the right
Yes.
website.
Yep.
So get involved in old stuff.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah.